Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your Realtor Hugo here with another live. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. It is your daily space to learn a little bit more about real estate every day and how it can impact you and those around you. I am your Realtor Hugo, licensed in Maryland with Long and Foster. Hi, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Happy Saturday. Today we're talking about renting out your property, what first time landlords need to know. So if you or anyone you know is interested in content such as this, feel free and share the live. We're going to be on all your major platforms: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, Twitch.com, Spotify, and YouTube Music. So feel free and tune in on your platform of choice. Ladies and gentlemen, today it's going to be another topic that has to do with renting, but a little bit on the making money side, the landlord side. And I know right now it's difficult for many of us to envision ourselves as landlords, seeing as we don't have homes. But I want you to know what this world is all about. And I want you to know what you can do with what you got. So take some notes, kind of follow up on these things when they do become a big force and a big important issue in your life, then we can revisit this a little bit more closely. But as of right now, this is great information to have in case you are ever interested in leasing out a house. Number one, understand your legal obligations. Licensing. Obtain a rental facility license from the Montgomery County Department of Housing and Community Affairs, DHCA. That is by far probably the most important thing to get this operation started, is having your renter's license. Compliance. Ensure your property complies with all local, state, and federal laws, including housing codes, non-discrimination laws, and health and safety regulations. That means getting the property inspected for lead, radon, and anything else that the county might deem necessary at the time of doing the inspection. So definitely take your time to look at that and make sure that you are covering those bases, because you are having people live in the property and the property needs to be safe to inhabit. Know your maintenance. Oh, excuse me. Number two, create a comprehensive lease agreement. Written agreement. Always provide a written lease that outlines terms clearly. You never want to put yourself in a position where you are left with just a verbal contract. That is not enforceable. That is not something that is um, at all something you can use in court to win a case. It needs to be in writing. And Maryland's a written state where everything has to, for the most part, be written for it to be enforceable. Required provisions include necessary details such as rent amount, due date, maintenance, responsibilities, and lease duration. That all has to be clearly outlined in the lease. And if your lease doesn't have any of those points, you need clarification on them, and that might need to be discussed. Number three, know your maintenance responsibilities. Initial conditions. Present the property in a clean, safe, and sanitary condition at the start of the tenancy. You don't want the property to be in bad shape. You don't want to give anyone a reason to think that there might be something wrong with the property. Ongoing maintenance. Regularly maintain all systems, for example, the plumbing and electrical, and ensure prompt repairs. There is nothing more concerning than a landlord that does not take care of their property. Tenants get frustrated. They at times don't see what you see. So when you are not taking care of repairs on time, tenants sometimes take matters into their own hands, and that can truly be devastating for a property. So don't leave it up to chance. Make sure that you're taking care of your home and your investment, because tenants will never behave the way you do in regards to your property, and they will never take care of the property the way that you do. But if you are on top of it, if you are looking at ongoing maintenance and being prompt in your repairs, you shouldn't ever really have an issue. And your tenants should be very willing to communicate with you and have dialogue and exchange and let you know things that are going on in the property, which is all good stuff. Number four, handle security deposits properly. Deposit limits. Do not charge more than 2 months' rent as a security deposit. Interest accrual. Keep deposits in a Maryland financial institution and ensure they accrue interest. That is typically what is suggested, that you get an interest bearing account and provide interest with the security deposit after the tenancy. Um, I don't know how much to check up on those, if there is anything that checks up on that. But as long as the security deposit is not any more than 2 months, then that is compliant. And as long as the security deposit is being returned within 45 days, that is also being compliant. So there are some things to look at there. And I suggest that you look at the landlord tenant handbook inside Maryland's Department of Housing to find more clear indications on what to do with security deposits. Number five, provide clear communication channels, emergency contacts. Provide tenants with 24/7 communicate contact for emergencies. Notice for repairs. Give at least 24-hour notice before entering the property for non-emergency repairs. Be transparent. Be upfront and be professional. Remember, we want this to be a business and a successful one at that. So you need to treat your tenants like clients and truly be professional about how you handle everything in the property. Number six, conduct thorough tenant screenings, background checks. Use services like Safe Rent Solutions to evaluate prospective tenant credit and rental history. Remember, criminal history is no longer valid. So we base most decisions of our renters on their credit history and their rental history, any previous evictions, any late payments, or of the such. Non discrimination. Ensure equal treatment for all applicants and comply with fair housing laws. You can't discriminate because someone has a voucher. You can't discriminate because someone has an animal or a pet, a service pet. Um, and you can't discriminate because someone has uh, a particular sexual orientation or a disability. These are all protected classes now. And even furthermore, you can't even discriminate on how someone makes their money. So, truly, the only thing that we have to qualify people on correctly are credit history and rental history. So, making sure that your tenants are aware that those are the things you're looking for can really take away a lot of the maybe poor information that might be out there, making it seem like landlords are discriminating. No, we make it as easy as possible to eliminate all those factors. And now it's truly only um, two factors that matter the most when it comes to leasing. Number seven, educate tenants on their rights and responsibilities. Tenant Handbook. Provide a copy of the Montgomery County Landlord Tenant Handbook. I've spoken about this handbook several times. It's one of my favorite pieces of literature from the county. It comes in 8 different languages. You can share it with your tenants. You can keep a copy for yourself. It truly covers all your bases for Montgomery County. So you're not having this guesswork of what do I do in this situation or what do I do in that situation. You have a manual and a handbook of what the best practices are and contact information in case you have any further more detailed questions. Right to privacy. Inform tenants about their right to receive notice before entry and their ability to request repairs. Part of the use of this property is for personal enjoyment. They should have peace and quiet and be able to enjoy the property as they see fit, as long as they're not harming anyone or breaking any laws. So there is a right to privacy there, and you have to respect that. You have to be announced and let them know when you're going to be going. And you also have to just be transparent as possible about what you're going to be doing in the property when. Number eight, handle rent payments and increases correctly. Timely payments. Ensure rent is collected timely and provide receipts. Notice for increases, give at least 90-day notice before increasing rent. And remember that you can only increase rent once every 12 months. So don't be greedy. Don't, be unannounced, and be conscious that the county has guidelines for how much rent increases should be every year. Try to stay within those guidelines. I understand that sometimes increases happen, sometimes taxes happen, sometimes bills happen, sometimes you haven't increased rent in a long time. That being said, you should always do proper adjustments of the rent so that you don't run into that issue. I know it feels like you're helping people out by not increasing their rent, but in the long run, you may be hurting yourself and your own business because you are leaving money on the table and potentially still incurring the same cost that you would otherwise. So you have to take that into account. Cost of the tenant versus the price that the tenant is paying and what that is to you. Number nine, be prepared for disputes. Mediation services. Utilize DHCA's mediation services to resolve disputes. Sometimes there are things that are just they get out of hand. Sometimes people don't know how to communicate. Sometimes people get emotional. It can be very tough to be a landlord, and it can be very tough to be a tenant. So there are mediation services that help people discuss both sides, help communicate so that both sides can come to a mutual agreement. Remember, the realtors and the real estate professionals typically at this point are no longer involved. I, as a listing agent, I am probably gone once the new tenants have moved in, and the buying agent's usually gone a little bit after that as well. Truly, at this point in the game, the tenant and the landlord should be speaking directly, and if that communication breaks down, the county can get involved with services such as this. Another great suggestion is documentation. Keep detailed records of all your communications and transactions with your tenants, and likewise with your landlords. Why? You just want a paper trail of everything that's happened so that there is accountability for what people say and what people do. Remember, like I said earlier, Maryland looks at written items and written statements and documents a lot more favorably than ones that are spoken or verbal. And the last one for this evening is number 10, stay informed and updated. Regular updates. Keep up with changes in landlord tenant laws, continuous learning, attend workshops or training sessions offered by local housing authorities. There are some great resources. Excuse me. There are some great resources from Maryland Realtors that talk about landlord tenant relations, how to be a better landlord, and how to be a better property manager. So please look into those courses. A little bit of education can go a long way, not just for your business of leasing homes, but also for really your career in this industry. Because remember, it starts off with one property. You buy one property for yourself, and then you get to a point where you can refinance and purchase another one. You can lease the first one and then move into the second one, or vice versa. Whatever you see fit at the time. The most important thing is that you're collecting and growing your portfolio. That is really the foundations of generational wealth when it comes to real estate. Not just one property, but multiple properties. They're building not only equity, but also return on your investment through rent and cash flow. If you're just joining us this evening, I'm talking about renting out your property, what first time landlords need to know, and should know when it comes to leasing out their properties. Number one was understand your legal obligations. Number two was create a comprehensive lease agreement. Number three is know your maintenance responsibilities. Number four is handle security deposits properly. Number five is provide clear communication channels. Number six is conduct thorough tenant screening. Number seven is educate tenants on their rights and responsibilities. Number eight is handle rent payments and increases correctly. Number nine is be prepared for disputes. And number 10, stay informed and updated. This is a very easy way to not only protect yourself from what may come on the horizon when it comes to your tenant, but also to set up a procedure for the property. It is so much easier to lease a property and to get a property through the leasing process if you have a setup procedure of how you do things. This is the screening process. This is the move-in process. This is how we do checks. This is how we do repairs. All those things, think about them. This is your business. And for all intents and purposes, it's your brand. So don't just think that, hey, I'm a landlord now. I'm just going to slap a for rent sign on this property and just shove someone in there and they're going to pay me $5,000 a month. And that's going to be that. It's not like that. Real estate is not passive income in that way. It can be. And if you'd like it to be, I would highly suggest that you look into property management. But when it comes to doing it on your own, you are the landlord and have some responsibilities that are a little different than if someone was employed to do this for you. So make sure that you are staying on the right side of the law, obeying fair housing rules and regulations, and have a set procedure for how you handle this so that everyone feels like you're being fair, communicative, and transparent. If you have any further questions when it comes to buying, selling, leasing, or investing in real estate in Maryland, I'm more than happy to help you out and give you a personal consultation free of charge. So feel free and reach out. My phone number is 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com, and my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow is Sunday. We are going to be talking about the top 10 real estate news stories of the week and how they impact the industry. So come on back for that tomorrow. Again, thank you so much for tuning in today. I will see you all tomorrow. Get some rest and have a great night. Have a great Memorial weekend too. Take care. Be safe out there.